Well, hello. Welcome back again. Today we have another Bible review, and I've been waiting for what Bible I wanted to review on the channel, and I have one that I think is unique, and I've enjoyed using it thus far, and I'd love to share it with you. All right, and here we have it. What you have here, what you see here is a bilingual Bible in Spanish and in English. In the Spanish version, we have the Reina Valera Gomez, and then in English, we have the KJV. So, from an appearance perspective, it's very minimalist. There is not too much going on here, which I think is totally fine. That's probably what you want in most Bibles, I would guess. And then on the spine, you just have the names of the translations, the Spanish up on top and the English down below. The Reina Valera Gomez, this one is the 2010 edition of the Reina Valera Gomez. And so from my research, and it hasn't been extensive, is that the RVG is basically the Spanish version of the KJV. And there's more information inside the Bible on the title page if you would like to know more about it. And you can also look online as well. And so I want to give you just a quick 360 view of this Bible. There's the spine, and then the back of the Bible, and then looking at the edges of the pages there. So there is something I want you to know about this Bible. And I bought my Bible from the KJV store, and right now I just looked online, and you can get it for around $70. And it comes in the black genuine leather, and there's also a burgundy version of it as well, which I also believe is genuine leather. Something to know about between the black and the burgundy is that there's a difference in size between the two. So when I got this Bible, you can see that it's a pretty hefty, heavy Bible. At least to me, it is. Of course, there are essentially two Bibles in this one Bible, so that does make sense. But as far as dimensions goes, it's a little bit larger than what I would prefer. If they could have made it a bit smaller as far as its length and height, I think that would have been okay. Even though that meant maybe its width or its thickness would have increased. To me, that would have been more preferred compared to how just wide it is. But again, there's two Bibles in this. But this one is larger actually than the burgundy one. And I actually just found that out recently. And that's probably my fault because I hadn't looked at the dimensions between the two. But this black one is 10.5 inches tall and then 7.5 inches wide. And then the burgundy one is going to be coming in around 9 inches and a quarter tall, and then 6 3/4 wide. So if you see this and you say, well, that seems like a cool Bible, but I'd like it a bit smaller, you will get it. You can get it a little bit smaller in the burgundy. I will say though, online they do say that if you get the burgundy, it's going to be a 9-point font, and this one is a 10-point font. So we'll see the font in just a moment to help you consider which Bible you need. But real quickly, I just wanted to grab my Schuyler Quintel and do a quick side-by-side comparison so that you can see the two. Right away, you can see that it's about that inch or so, maybe less than an inch taller than the Schuyler. And then if I put the Schuyler on top of this Bible, you can also see that this the bilingual Bible sticks out as well. So that's just a quick comparison. If you have a Schuyler or know what one feels like, then you can kind of tell just how large this Bible is. All right, and then before we get into the text block, I do want to mention that there are 2 ribbon markers in this Bible. Now, I'm not a big fan of these. There's nothing remarkable really to say about them. There's a red one and a black one. Maybe it would have been nice to have 3 of them, and that they would have been a bit thicker, and just size overall I think would have been nice for this type of a Bible. All right, and then last thing I want to just make mention of is there is the gold gilded edges here, and it's just the gold. It's not red under gold, just the gold here. It's been holding up fairly well. So let's look at the text block. Title page. There you're going to get some information on the translation of the Bible, and then there's an email here. I'm guessing that you could reach out and get more information on the Reina Valera Gomez, made in China. All right, and we'll look at the table of contents. Again, everything here is going to be doubled in the sense that it's going to be English and Spanish. So on the left side, we have the Old Testament and then the New. And then we'll look at what Genesis 1 looks like. So it goes straight into the scriptures. So not too much extra pages there. And it goes straight to the scriptures. So the format of the text block. So we have a double column, Spanish on the left, English on the right. It's a verse by verse format. So every verse starts on a new line. And that can be very helpful if you're preaching, if you're an expository preacher, if you like to preach verse by verse, and also for comparing between the English and the Spanish, right? So like if you're looking at verse 6, you know that verse 6 is just immediately found on the left of that verse in the Spanish, and then on the right in the English. So I've found that very helpful when I'm trying to compare the English rendering to the Spanish, and just having that verse by verse right next to each other helps out immensely. And so all of the words in this Bible are in black. The words of Christ are also in black. We'll confirm that here in a sec. But it's dedicated primarily to just the scripture here. There aren't, footnotes. There are not cross references in the Bible. It's just, the Bible. It's just the verses there in the English and in the Spanish. And there is a little bit of ghosting, as you can see, I think right there. But I also do have a light shining on the Bible. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but I've never found that to take away from the reading experience. Let me give you a view of the Psalms, or one of the poetic books, so you can see how that looks. It's going to be probably similar to everything else, since it's all verse by verse, but there's the Psalms if you'd like to see that. All right, and then going to the New Testament, again, in some Bibles, the words of Christ are in red, but in this Bible, they are all in black, which I like. I like that. And because, all of Scripture is inspired. So all of the words, even the words that Jesus says, are going to be in black. And that might also aid to an easier reading experience for you. So again, this is a pretty large Bible. Once you open it up, with the two sides, it does take up a lot of space. Another reason why I would have liked it a bit smaller maybe is just so that it doesn't take up so much space on the pulpit, ironically, because I like to have my Bible on the pulpit, but I also like to have my notes. And in this one, maybe I just need a larger pulpit. That's probably the solution I need to explore, but I find it hard. I would find it hard to have this Bible, and then I usually have a 3-ring binder or just a notebook, and that usually takes up a considerable amount of space on the pulpit. So this is the letters of Paul here, and then let's just see what we find after the book of Revelation. I can't remember if there are any maps. There's not a concordance. It's too thin for that. So, okay, we're here at Revelation 19. And then after Revelation, it's done. There's nothing else. one page, kind of this cardstock paper on one side, and then the liner right here. So here you could write some notes, but you don't have any maps. There's not a concordance, an index, or anything like that. And there's the Bible. So I believe this is a very practical Bible. It gets the job done. If you're looking for a Spanish English version of the King James, you're going to have an excellent translation here with the Reina Valera Gomez. And it's a nice Bible. Just know that the dimensions between the black and the burgundy are going to be different. So maybe that